What's going on, guys? Vulkan here, and I have some brand new Redfall news for everyone. So this is leaked content, and I am not going to show the actual screenshots here because last time I showed leaked content, Ubisoft hit my channel really hard with a strike, and I don't want to do that again because then I could potentially lose my channel. But I will talk about it and kind of discuss what is seen. So if you want to see for yourself, there's a link in the description, but otherwise, let's go ahead and dive in. So we have 14 screenshots to show off very early looks at the game. And from these, Redfall looks like a Borderlands meets Left 4 Dead Horde style looter shooter. So the first screenshot shows us the login screen where we have options to change our heroes, of which we know there are 6. Our hero level, the time played as that hero, a news feed, lobby name, so you can create your own lobby, and then a start match button. Now, it also looks like we can have 4 friends join our party for a total of 5 players, so feel free to bring some friends and get to shooting. So the next screenshot shows us a picture of the world. It looks very early, textures are smoothed out, it's missing lots of detail, and the in-game UI is about what you would expect from a shooter. You have a health bar, med kits, a current weapon, and a class skill. Now, underneath all of that is your experience bar, and along the top of the screen is a compass. Now, a few takeaways here. We can see that you will be able to equip 3 weapons and that there will be objectives placed on the compass. So moving on, we get to check out a test environment that gives us an idea of what the top end item rarities will be. And that's going to be superior, high end, and unrivaled. And speaking of loot, we do get to look at a few pieces of unrivaled and high end gear. So first up, we have the stake launcher. Now remember, this game is about vampires, so having a stake launcher like Van Helsing makes total sense. So we get to see the weapon level here, which is level 1, the weapon rating, which is like your eye level, a rate of fire, a reload rate, and a magazine size. And then each weapon has some perks, but right now these are extremely basic. Things like stakes deal extra damage, increased accuracy while moving, increased hipfire accuracy. Nothing really to get excited about, nothing gameplay changing. So hopefully we'll see a little bit more complexity and depth once we get closer to release. We also have a ultraviolet beam or a UV beam. This is a level 40 weapon, and apparently these UV weapons will petrify vampires and turn them to stone. Pretty cool there. And then we have civilian heat, which is an assault rifle. Nothing new on this one that we didn't see on the previous 2 weapons, but it does look like this assault rifle does have a bayonet on it to stake enemies. So the last thing we're going to touch on is the loadout screen because it gives us a great look at what type of items we can expect to see and kind of the ins and outs of itemization. So let's go ahead and break this down. Along the top of the screen, we have tabs for loadout, skills, map, missions, and archive. Now I'm curious to see what skills look like. Is it going to be like Outriders where you unlock set skills, or is it a skill tree like in Borderlands? I don't know, but at the very top right, we do see something called an item shop with a currency next to it. So there will be an item shop in game, which makes sense, most likely cosmetics, to help create future content for the game. Now the main screen has a lot to break down, so let's start from left to right. On the left-hand side, we have a handful of consumable items and our inventory space. It looks like we have access to things like keys, lockpicks, tools, and medkits. I'm guessing this might be similar to Back 4 Blood when you needed a toolkit to open a certain door for some extra loot, maybe ammunition. And then maybe the keys are used for special locked chests out in the world. I'm not entirely sure, but there's a lot you can kind of pull from that. Now, next up is the weapon lineup. We see a revolver at the top, that stake launcher weapon at number 2, and number 3 is an empty slot. Then beneath that, it looks like we have an ammo kind of sub-menu showing how much ammunition for each weapon type that we'll have. Next up is a single armor slot. There isn't anything in it, but there isn't like gloves, head, hands, feet. It just says armor and the slot's empty. We have a med kit slot, which looks like you can swap out what type of kit you want to use. Maybe one is instant use and then one is like a heal over time. Then we have something called remnants, which is 3 slots. 2 are locked in the screenshot. I'm guessing these are like trinkets. Maybe they grant passive effects or they change how your skill particularly works. And the last slot is something called a memento. Again, it's kind of this ring looking symbol, and maybe this affects their equipped skill. Maybe it determines your equipped skill. There's just so much we don't know right now, but the one thing I do know is that there is a lot to tinker with on this inventory screen, so that gives me a decent chunk of hope. All right, folks, so that is all we have this time around. Redfall is launching in summer 2022, so most of this will most likely change, but I think this really helps us understand what type of game Redfall is aiming to be. Obviously, the jury is still out on how far it plans to go into the looter shooter genre versus the horde shooter like Left 4 Dead style genre, but we'll have to wait and see what they come up with towards the end of the year. So I want to get a conversation rolling in the comment section below. What do you all think about Redfall? What do you think about the kind of looter shooter style focus? Remember, it is an open world game as well. So let's get to talking about it. But as always, thank you guys so much for the support. This has been Vulkan, and I'll talk to you guys next time.